Welcome to Wasatch Weekends for this Monday, October 30th edition. I'm your host, Ben Roof. On today's show, we've got singer, songwriter, and actress Raquel Castro stopping by to tell us all about her career. And then we've also got an amazing small town story about local bright detailing. But first, a quick local announcement. The family-friendly haunted house at the Park City Library is open today from 4 to 7 p.m. But at 6 p.m., they are showing the movie The Nightmare Before Christmas to celebrate its 30th anniversary. It's going to be an amazing festive event for everybody in the family. But before you head out there, let's take a look at what today's weather is going to be doing.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. Singer, songwriter, and actress Raquel Castro has already had an incredibly long career despite her youth, and Kimberly Perot had the opportunity to sit down and talk to her about all things acting, singing, and songwriting. Let's take a look.
Now, welcome back to our show. Our next guest is just a creative, multi-talented individual, lots of energy, very excited and joyful about life. I'm excited to have the creative Raquel Castro joining us today. Raquel, how are you?
I'm good, Kim. How are you?
I am so good. Glad to have you on the show today. Now, I love your entire life has been working in entertainment, and you got started in acting. Tell us a bit about your acting career and where the journey began for you.
Okay, so I started as an actress at 4 years old. I grew up with parents that both loved to be creative. My father in music, and my mother wanted to be an actress. And then my brother and I were discovered in like a nail salon at like 4 years old, and I signed with an agent in New York City. I got a number in a nail salon. My mom contacted the manager in New York, and then from there on, it's history. So. Yeah, my first big role was when I was 7 years old. I played Gertie Trinke in a movie called Jersey Girl, where I got to play Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's daughter, and that completely changed my life.
Yeah, you did such a great job in the movie, and it's very exciting stuff because next year is the 20-year anniversary. So, are there any exciting plans coming up for the movie?
Yes, possibly. I actually, a few months back, reconnected with Kevin Smith, the director, and he brought me out to Jersey to screen the director's cut, which I've never seen before, but have always been dying to see, because there's a lot of deleted scenes with Jennifer Lopez. And then after like Gigli came out and didn't do so well in box offices, and Jen and Ben broke up at the time, I think they just kind of needed to re-envision the film. But there was just so many good parts with Jen in that version that I got to go to Jersey and screen it with Kevin at his theater, and we did like a whole Q&A about it, and he kind of spilled the beans that Paramount might be re-releasing that version for its 20th anniversary in March of 2024. So fingers crossed, because I was bawling in the theater watching it, and I just think that everyone will have a whole new appreciation, not only for the film, but for Ben and Jen separately together. Their chemistry on screen is just, it's insane. Like, it was so beautiful to watch.
That's amazing. And that obviously launched the rest of your acting career, which you still do, but you also mentioned your dad is a musician. And so you are also an accomplished songwriter. Tell me about your singing and your songwriting career, because there's a lot there too.
Yeah, so I would say fast forward outside of my little teeny like actor days of, doing all of those fun things. I definitely had a moment where I had to take a step back. And then when I hit around like 16, I started to really take music more seriously. I was working with producers at the time. And I had the opportunity to go on a show called The Voice on NBC. And it was season 1. We didn't know anything about the show. All I knew was that Christina Aguilera was going to be a judge on the show. And she is one of my biggest inspirations musically growing up. I listened to her so much. So I took the opportunity. I ended up getting into the top 16 on season 1 of The Voice, top 4 on Christina Aguilera's team. And that really helped transition me from child actor to artist, singer. And it also surrounded me with so many like creative people. Being from Long Island, New York, I didn't really grow up around like the industry. I was a normal kid. I went to regular school. I wasn't like a performing arts school or anything like that. So my time there, I was so inspired by all of the songwriters. And that was in, I want to say 2010. And that's when I started songwriting. I used it as more so of like a therapeutic outlet for me. And fast forward 10 years, 2020 comes, and there's a show called Songland on NBC. And my mother had just pitched a bunch of my songs on to the casting director, because it's the same casting as The Voice. So we always had that connection there. And without my knowledge, my mom was just sending in my stuff, because at first I told her I did not want to do it. And sure enough, they chose one of my songs, and that landed me my first cut with one of my favorite R&B artists, her. And then COVID happened. So it was like a crazy whirlwind, but music has always been a huge part of my life. And now I am currently in a girl band called Eddie. It's with my 2 producers, Esther and Sadie, and I love them so much. We're doing a lot of like R&B, neo soul music, and we do these like Wine Wednesdays on Instagram. Every Wednesday we're dropping new covers or originals. So it's been like a passion project for me, and we're having a lot of fun.
That's amazing. And I love your song that came off of Songland with her. I think it's such an accomplishment. So congratulations on that. Now, how would you describe your sound? You've obviously written for R&B artists. You're in this neo soul R&B girl group. What are your musical influences?
Oh, I have so many. One being Amy Winehouse. She's like lyrically, her pockets, melodies, everything. She's inspired me over the years so much. I grew up listening to like Norah Jones and Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Nat King Cole with my dad. So there's a lot of like classical influences there as well. So I like to kind of merge R&B, pop, because I feel like just naturally I write in a pop structure, but with R&B melodies. Little bit of jazz influence in there as well. And the neo soul is new, but I recently discovered that a lot of the music that I listen to is in that category. So we're kind of merging all of these different worlds. I love Lauryn Hill as well, like old 90s R&B. So that's kind of what we're recreating and trying to modernize it a little bit now.
Awesome. So Eddie, all girl group. Tell me about the name. I love the name of your group. How did you come up with that?
So, thank you. I appreciate that. We kind of came up with it on a whim. We were doing a show out here in Los Angeles at the Hotel Cafe, and we last minute decided, we're like, if we're going to be working so much together, we should just create like a band, a group. So it's just us. Like, this is the sound that we're creating. So we were feeding names off of each other, and one of the girls came back and was just like, what about Eddie? The reason behind it was because we wanted something that had to do with water, because we're all water signs. So I'm a Scorpio, Sadie is a Cancer, and Esther is a Pisces. And we wanted something that was like water sign related, but not on the nose. And Eddie means it's like a movement of water that goes against the main current and starts a small whirlpool. And that's kind of what we feel like we're doing in music. Like, we're not really going against the main current. We're kind of like gearing off and making our own little small whirlpools. So that's how we found our name, and it kind of just stuck.
I love the name behind it. I think one, it's just very cool how you described it, but then also I think it's kind of ironic because it's an all girl group, and then the name Eddie is usually associated with the male genre. So
Yes.
Raquel, where can we go for more information? Where can we find your music? Follow you on Instagram. Tell us all of the details.
Yes, I am mainly on Instagram. That's like my go-to platform, and it's Raquel X Castro. Eddie's Instagram is @EddieIsThis. This is Eddie backwards. So those are the two platforms that we're posting all musical stuff on, and updates and shows and just lifestyle fun things just to connect with everyone out there.
Awesome. And I've seen your Wine Wednesdays. Definitely a blast to check out. So we really appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the show. Best of luck to you. Exciting if they do the re-release next year. I can't wait to see that cut of Jersey Girl. And in the meantime, follow your musical career. You are crushing it, and it's so exciting to see.
Thank you so much.
Now stay tuned.
You.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more right after this break, so don't go away.
Welcome back to Wasatch Weekends. One of our favorite partners here is the Park City Chamber of Commerce, and they have these great small town stories where they feature local businesses. And up next is their small town story about Bright Detailing, in case you need to get your car cleaned. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Small Town Stories, sponsored by the Park City Chamber. Today we have Darren Couch right here in studio. He's the president of Bright Detailing. Thank you, Darren, for being here today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
I'm excited to hear more about your small town story, but tell me first about your business.
So our business is purely local. We service Park City, Midway, Heber, and what we do is we detail vehicles. So what that means is we take a vehicle and essentially return it to new. We clean it inside and out, take care of the paint, and just make it look and feel as best as it can.
When did you start your business?
So we started back in May of 2018, and then we've been going full-time since then.
And it's evolved quite a bit over time, as all businesses do, but I think it's interesting how much it has actually changed from the very beginning when you started to where you are today.
Yeah, so when we first started, we were doing a lot of used car dealership work, which can be kind of like knee deep in a lot of dirt and just stuff. And then over time we've just evolved more into working with property managers to make sure that their clients always have a clean car and a clean garage when they show up, so they can just hop in, go to Main Street and enjoy their time versus having to deal with a car not starting or a car being dirty. So it's just really moved more into servicing people on a regular basis.
And that service, it's really dependent on our great small mountain town. You know, you have the regulars, you have visitors. How do you balance that type of business?
So the balance, more than anything, is just making sure that the people that we do have as clients are always taken care of. We don't take on too much work because then we start to scramble. We really just focus on doing good quality work for the property managers that we work with and the other businesses and people in town that we work with.
And you have enough of a customer base to primarily stay in the Wasatch back.
Yeah, so town and just the area in general has grown a lot. So we do service Red Ledges, Midway, Heber, Glen Wild, and just all the surrounding areas to Old Town. And so yeah, it's grown a lot and there's plenty of demand for sure.
And what makes your business different from others out there?
So our business, like I said, we primarily focus on, we take a limited number of clientele so that they get the best experience possible. And then detailing as an industry is largely unregulated. So for example, you need a license to open a hair salon or to be a mechanic, but auto detailing falls outside of that realm. So one place that we excel is that we are certified with the International Detailing Association, which is akin to like an ASE certification for a mechanic. So we've proven that we have the skills and we know what we're doing, And so that's where we differentiate ourselves, is that we do carry those certifications.
And as a mobile business, you'll go wherever you're needed, basically.
Yep, we service hotels, condos, homes, businesses, literally anywhere.
And is it challenging? What are some of your biggest challenges? Weather, or is it other things that kind of make it sometimes difficult?
So I think probably the biggest challenge is once we start to get into kind of tighter spaces like parking garages and things like that, we need to bring lighting in and make sure that we can see everything we're doing. And sometimes weather can play a role, but mostly people do have garages with heaters and drains, so we can just pull them inside and work on them in there.
What attracted you to this industry to begin with?
I kind of did it when I was a kid for the neighbors and kind of always washed my car on weekends, and then I studied business for a while after college, and one day I just thought, you know what, let's start a business, and this is what it was.
And what about Park City? What brought you to this small mountain town way back when you started?
So Park City in particular, I moved here in 2012, and it just has always felt like home, and it's just a place that you want to be in, it's a place you want to do business in, and just the community aspect is what I like the most.
And you actually have had family in Park City since it began, really.
Yeah, so my great-grandpa on my mom's side worked the mines up here back in the day, and so Park City's kind of just always been a part of our family, even if we haven't always lived here.
As people talk about how much the town has changed, being here since 2012, I think a lot of people have noticed increase in maybe traffic and building and just more people in general. But when you think about the past 10 years that you've been here, have you noticed any other notable changes?
More than anything, I like the influx of people that have come in, just in the sense of they just bring something new to town. And I've noticed that a lot of people that do move here have a strong sense of community already, and they want to be involved in town. They want to support non-for-profits. They want to be involved. And so I've really liked that. But more than anything, what I've noticed is town is as good as it's always been. It's just on a bigger scale.
And back when you were deciding where to locate your business and start your efforts, you could have stayed in a big city and maybe felt like you always would have a huge customer base, but you were attracted to a small town. Did you have any reservations about that to begin with?
Not necessarily. When we first started, we did cast a bit of a wider net when you are first starting, just to make sure that you're always staying busy and you're always working. But as we've built our client base, Park City just was the best fit for us. It matched what we like. We like the community aspect. We like that there's a very strong local aspect that you support local businesses. And so just off of that, it's been really good.
And do you have any advice for someone starting a business, whether it's in Park City or maybe a similar small town?
I think the best advice for starting a business is make sure you do everything that you're required to do. Get a license, get insurance, do everything. And then for a small town, just make sure that you're connected, because those connections and those relationships are what matter most and what will not just keep you in business, but help you be a part of the community.
So don't cut corners.
No.
It's not worth it.
Not at all. I've heard plenty of stories of things happen, accidents happen, and if you don't have insurance or everything in place, not only are your customers without recourse, but now you're having to pay for it out of pocket. So.
And then, of course, connecting. Do you find that word of mouth is some of the best ways to get those customers and keep them and have them?
Yeah, so word of mouth is obviously the best. We don't actively advertise. We are members of the Chamber of Commerce, and we have underwritten for the radio station in the past, and we are a Recycle Utah Green business. But word of mouth and quality work done consistently over time just seems to be the best advertising.
And how's the best way to find you and get a hold of you?
So the best way, you can go to our website. It's brightdetails.com. That's BRITE and then just details.com. Or our phone number is 801-209-3819. All that information's on the website. And then we're coming out with online booking, so you can just book straight from the website, pay on there, and it's really convenient. We confirm a few days beforehand. But yeah, we're really easy to find, and then you'll see us driving around town, and yeah, so we're here, and we're here to stay.
Well, thank you so much, Darren, for joining us today. Really appreciate having you here and having such a great business as Bright Detailing a part of Park City's landscape. I know it's an excellent one, and we very much appreciate all you do for our community and just as a small town business. So thank you for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be back with more right after this.
This weather report is brought to you by Sun and Ski Sports, your new mountain sports headquarters.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this Monday, October 30th edition of Wasatch Weekends. I'm your host, Ben Roof, and if you've missed any of our previous episodes, you can always find our archive at parkcity.tv, where we post all of our past episodes and everything we've got going on. Until then, I'm Ben Roof, this is Wasatch Weekends, and I hope you guys have an incredible Halloween.